Oh
Welcome
boy.
to another episode of Industrial Amputation, where you can always expect the unexpected. Today we have us musician, electronic engineer, cat lover, co-founder of Malekko Heaven Industry, and overall badass, Josh Holley.
Woo! Wow, what an intro.
So much for being here today.
And now the show's over. That was happening, guys.
Everybody, good night. Yeah.
Doing great. So I've known you a really long time. We first met in '97 when I was 16 years old. I put a post-it
Nice.
note on the customer bulletin board at Waterloo Records, and it said, looking for Skinny Puppy fans, and Josh was the very first person to page me. And that's how we know each other.
Fucking pagers, man. That's the time.
97. So, what brought you to Austin back then?
Wow. So I was living in Montana. I'm from Montana. I'm from Missoula, and I was working in the tattoo industry back then, and I got really mad at snow, and you know what? I'm going to move somewhere where it doesn't snow. And so my best friend in the world is obsessed with the butthole surfers, and he was like, "Let's go to Austin." And I was like, "Fuck that! I will never go to Texas." And I took a job. This is pre-internet, so I took a job at a place called Warlock Southern Dragon in Raleigh, North Carolina, thinking, "Oh, these guys have a great sense of humor." And I get there, and boy, was I wrong. So
Wow.
I realized that I had made a mistake, and my friend Jesse met me out in North Carolina. We were like, "So we're running out of money," and he's like, "Well, I'm going to go to Austin." I was like, "Fuck. Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks." And I was there for 13 years. He moved away 6 months after he moved there. So the guy who made me move to Austin only lasted 6 months. And I mean, I'm giving you the much abridged version, but I put up quite a fight about entering the state of Texas. Quite a great time. Austin is really fun when you're 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, what are some of the fondest memories you have from back then, from shows to being around friends? I mean, it was a great time
And
to be here. That was my favorite era, is around '97, working at Waterloo, getting free into places. So much.
yeah, I mean, getting to see so many great shows, you know, seeing the Cramps at Liberty Lunch, you
Wow.
know, seeing some really just absolutely amazing bands. Because, you know, this is again, you know, pre-internet and me living in kind of remote areas, I didn't get the opportunity to see a lot of bands when I was a young person. So when I moved to Austin, the really great thing about that was I was all of a sudden just so lucky to see so many bands. And I was, you know, I was seeing shows pretty much every day. And like it was such you know, great times. Austin was still really a music centric town.
Yeah.
And you know,
Mm.
you know, seen Ween, you know, that they loved the show so much they made a record out of. Negative Land, you know, at Stubbs, they, you know, they still credit that to be, you know, one of their, you know, best shows.
Yeah.
Seen, you know, I got the opportunity to see so many great shows. I've seen, you know, Levi about 25,000 times with bands at Elysium or pre-Elysium, which is Atomic Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah,
Remember
good,
that.
good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Joey, were you at that KMFDM show in '97 that Ogre was at?
Yeah, I was at that one. It was like Rammstein's first official US show, and we only knew him from the Lost Highway soundtrack. So it was just like, dude came out on fire. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was so mad because we're missing
We're
Pig by
talking
one
about
date, but I was
this.
like, this is insane. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, so that show was December 5th, 1997, which was
Yes, I
Ogre's
have the fourth
birthday.
poster somewhere.
Wow.
And I heard that, you know, Ogre was singing with them, and so I really wanted to go see the show. I didn't really care for Rammstein, but you know, their, you know, crew that, you know, for you know, PR, they were just handing CDs out everywhere, so people were familiar with them. But I endured, you know, the front row for you know, since they let me in at Liberty Lunch. And yeah, dude came out on fire. And if you weren't if you weren't a fan, you were at least like in just an awe that that was such a spectacle. And then I remember when KMFDM came out, there was no ogre. So I sat through a song and I was like, well, I guess it was just a rumor. And I started leaving and I was almost out the door when I heard Ogre's voice. And I am a big guy now, but I was real small back then. And I fucking parted the sea of Liberty Lunch
Like Moses.
right up, right up front. And yeah, it was his birthday, so we celebrate. He threw up on me in time, and I was just like, yeah, it's the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, that was the first time I met him after that show. He said, like, I'm not signing any autographs. And then I was like, well, could you maybe sign my copy to Dark Park? He's like, yeah, of course. And then he signed my copy and shook my hand. Like, didn't sign any other autographs, he said, just left.
Well, he was carried because I skipped the encore and went out back to try and say hi to him because I had never met him at the time. And he was carried out, and all I could muster up, I just choked. I was like, nice show, Ogre. And he just kind of raised his head. He was like, thanks, man. And I was just like, so in awe, but heartbroken at the same time. It was a medley of emotion.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, how did you meet Paul Barker while you were here?
So, I don't really know. I think Adam Grossman introduced us. This was still back when I was working at True Blue on Red River. And so how I started working with him, I didn't really know him really well, but I had his phone number for some reason. And so Dwayne Dassing from Mental and the Fixer and I did a whole bunch of projects together, all one-offs. And each time we played together, we would have a different name. And we kind of got tired of that, mostly because Dwayne and I together, it's not much, not much going on. So I really wanted to do a project with a stringed instrument player because I had never done that before. And so we're talking about who we'd want to play like guitar and who we want to play bass. And we had a guitarist in mind. And then when it came to bass player, Dwayne goes, Paul Barker. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't know him well enough to call him. But he just left ministry. And I was just like, because I have no fucking filter between brain and mouth and kind of no pride or just nothing but ignorance and drive. So I just called him up. I'm like, hey, Paul, this is Josh. Hey, you want to be in a band? And he's like, yeah, let's meet. And so we met at a coffee shop, Fliptronics. Flipnotics, there it is. And really just kind of everything just fell into place. It was Dwayne, myself, and Paul. And then we were like, hey, let's just get a rehearsal space right now. So we all piled in I had a Ford Explorer at the time. And Paul was in the back. Dwayne and I were in front. We're going to go get a rehearsal spot. Paul leans forward. Keep in mind, he doesn't really know Dwayne and I very well. And he goes, by the way, you guys aren't on heroin, are you? To which Paul and I just started, Dwayne and I just started laughing. We didn't ever answer that. We just started laughing. And then went to the rehearsal space.
Oh, man.
Good time.
Oh, man.
That was a good one.
What was it? The jumping off point that made you both decide that you're going to move to Portland and form Malekko Heavy Industry?
Well, we did Malekko in Texas. So Malekko started as a band. And it was Adam, Paul, myself, and Dwayne. And we had a couple vocalists that we auditioned, but ultimately it just kind of never really went anywhere. The thing that came out of it was I stole Paul's secret weapon in ministry called a Maestro Brassmaster. And my dad and I reverse engineered it, and I made two as a joke and called it the Barker Assmaster instead of Maestro Brassmaster. And the original pedal looks just like the one we made, except it has an orange triangle, which I made, of course, pink. And I gave it to Paul at one of our rehearsal or practice or whatever we were doing. And Paul just laughed, of course, and he goes, we should make these for other people. And I was like, I mean, I had no no thought about making, anything for anybody else. And so Malekko, the company, just accidentally formed out of Malekko, the band. Malekko, the band, just kind of went away, and then, all of a sudden, Malekko, the company, was, a full-time job.
Oh,
And we got really lucky really quick, and we got a lot of support, and we made really kind of not in that era, people were just kind of making like tube screamers or big muff pedals, and our second product was a time-based effect, which hadn't been done before, at least the way that we did it. And so we just got a lot of recognition really quick, and we got really lucky, and it was really fun. Paul and I did that for, to answer your question. So much like I was saying earlier, how when I moved to Texas, I moved there out of anger because I was just like, oh, I want to move somewhere where it doesn't snow. And when in Austin, when you remove yourself from like working downtown and, living or working in a warehouse in Round Rock, it's like, well, why am I in Austin? Because I don't do anything that makes Austin Austin. And
yeah.
it's so damn hot there, and I'm fat and I don't like heat. And so I remember one day just like, I want to move somewhere where water falls in the sky. And I that was 14, almost 15 years ago. And Paul was like, yeah, I think that's great. So I moved here, and I think Paul moved here like a year later because he has kids that had to finish high school. um but Paul and I just shut Malekko down after 18 years, January 1st.
Hmm.
So now I'm unemployed.
Oh.
So, if you guys know McDonald's is hiring, just I'll extend the resume.
I can send you some links. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm unemployable. Look at me.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
I'm black.
I thought that was a filter.
I'm black and I'm a bass player.
Oh man.
Yes. So,
So, what were some of the amazing things you were working on, as far as the pedals and and stuff?
So Malekko
You
really,
mentioned the time thing.
yeah. So I really enjoy time-based effects like delays, chorus,
Mhm.
like things that do that. And I enjoy analog variety of them because they're not perfect. Much like myself and Paul, they're incredibly flawed and noisy.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
I enjoy that. So our second pedal was actually I have one over here. Um, our second pedal is this guy. It's an Echo 600.
Oh.
And what's really hilarious is to this day, nobody knows what that says. They think it says ID 600. I don't know what that means. So the reason why we did this is because all of the analog delays of the past were Japanese companies that tried to look as homogenized or American as humanly possible. So we were an American company that tried to look as Japanese as possible. And what it says is Echo in Japanese.
Oh, wow. So
Wow.
let me geek out here for just a second and ask, who
I
are
like
who is so wise in the ways of science, Mr. Wizard? Where'd this skill come from?
So I've always dabbled in electronics ever since I can remember.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, and not having a lot of money and really, really being into synthesizers, there was an era of time where synthesizers, at least analog synthesizers, were just dirt. Nobody wanted them. No, they were free or best offer kind of. The problem is you had to, maintain them. So I did a lot of trial by fire, and learned a bit. I met my dad when I was 18, and he's an actual electrical engineer. So he took me under his wing and was like, "No, Josh, fire is bad." And and so I would be like, "Oh, but I like fire." And he's like, "No, try to not make it catch fire. Yes, instead." And so
Oh my God.
that's how we started doing stuff. I have almost no talents except for drive. So when I put my mind to something of, hey, I want to learn something, that's how it gets done. I become wildly obsessive and just fucking figure it out.
That is fucking fascinating, man. I am impressed.
I
Do you
read it.
know, what was that?
Said I read at a 5th grade level though. It keeps me
That's
young.
also impressive. Do you know, shit, Marcus Van Proust?
No, I don't think
He
so.
was the keyboardist for Christ Analog
Uh-huh.
way back in the day, and
Oh.
he would destroy his keyboards on stage, his synthesizers and stuff on stage.
That makes me sad.
There was a method to this madness. He after the show, he would put them back together.
Oh, good.
So he felt that being able to destroy and rebuild his instruments made him closer to the music, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's a great concept, except for when a circuit board gets broke. I mean, it
Yeah.
depends.
Well, yeah, he was good at repairing all that shit. So yeah,
Wow.
he really went for it on that stuff. Remember one time he it was a crocodile. He used he liked to set his stuff on fire. You know, speaking of
Fire's
flames and
great.
stuff.
Love
It is
it.
great. It is great. It's absolutely great. But I can't remember what he was using, but whatever it was, the flame was invisible, so he didn't realize that his hands
No.
were actually on
It's
fire,
really hot.
and it's really hot. So
Okay.
I'm running around trying to get ice and bags and cloths and stuff, because yeah, he fucked his hands up pretty good. But
Oh no.
he was hardcore with his shows. He once did a stage dive, landed his head into a post, knocked his ass out. I recall them doing a show where I think there was 2 people in the audience, and they still just absolutely tore the place up. He said one of his favorite times playing was a show where a deaf guy came to talk to him after the show to let him know that
Oh yeah.
he could feel the music, and that's what he really
Nice.
liked about the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
So I mean, yeah, I know, tangential, but yeah.
Price.
So being able to take your stuff apart and put it back together, and
Oh, that was
being able
fantastic. That fire shows you're paying attention and fixing stuff.
and fixing stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So excellent, man. Thank you.
Didn't you design Kevin's Brat models?
No. A gentleman named Phil Gallo was the engineer. So I had a manufacturing company, which I also shut down January 1st, called Dark Place Manufacturing. And so what we did was basically we were a resource for little companies like Malekko, where the kind of mission statement was, so when Malekko started, it was just me. It was just one person assembling pedals, watching Celebrity Fat Camp on my couch. But our website had, pictures of like Taiwan factories and like a semi going across the LA River. And it was like, we pretended we were this giant corporation when in fact it was one dude, watching VH1 love of rock and assembling pedals. And then so to grow was really challenging. And then how do you do that? And like having not through hole but automated assembly of products to where you can hopefully turn a product. Well, at the time that Dark Place started, there weren't a lot of US manufacturing companies that would even talk to a small batch, which hurt. And going overseas at that point, there's absolutely no way people would do that. So we were like, hey man, we want to we want to manufacture like all of our peers, all of our friends stuff, and kind of make their dream a possibility. And that was real fun, and then real challenging once COVID hit, because supply chains were terrible. Am I boring you, Levi?
No. No, you're not.
You can change your glasses to where they're dark and they just have two eyeballs.
I can do that automatically. I'm just admiring this. It really
Oh
is.
my God.
I'm blathering on about nonsensical things.
Nah,
That's
no.
our favorite thing, man.
Hey, just hook me up with one of those pedals.
Give me your address.
Yeah,
I've
I
got some.
will. That's
Did you
cool.
ever get an Ass Master?
Huh?
You ever get an Ass Master?
No, I never got an Ass Master.
I'm really
I've been
surprised.
called that a lot.
I'm surprised at that. I'll get you one.
I've been called an Ass Master.
Yeah. We all, yeah.
But I haven't gotten the
Yeah,
pedal. It's analog.
Josh, tell us about your synth collection.
I've a lot of sense. There's a wall, some stuff over here,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, that is
That
pretty.
Mini Moog was the Mini Moog that was Bill Lieb's old Mini that did the first couple Puppy records.
Oh, wow.
The Prophet 5 underneath was Dwayne's. Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side of the studio is guitars and crap.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, stupid stringed instruments. Nobody knows them. They're just
Was
weird.
one of them stolen?
Say it again?
Wasn't one of your synths stolen? I remember
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a touch. You don't want me to cry.
I don't want you. Okay, we don't have to talk about that.
Don't cry. Don't tear
Don't tear up. No.
Well, we're excited to hear you're working on new music, man. How's it coming along?
Yeah.
It's going along really good. I'm here trying to the first track that I have been working on got it's, so I don't know, whenever you have something in your head and then the kind of finished product or whatever it is totally different than what you started
right
out.
Mhm.
So I got this song and it's really doomy, and which is not necessarily my cup of tea,
Yeah.
but I enjoy a lot of it. So what I'm trying to do is pull it in a direction to where it's not really just doom. I'm a synth pop guy. I really, that's kind of my jam, or industrial music, but I have been wanting to make a heavy record. And I don't really know how. So that's kind of why I feel like accidentally got pulled into this like kind of doomy sound, is because I really don't know what I'm doing.
Some of the best stuff comes from there.
Yeah, some good things come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I want it to, the end result is I want it to be really, really big sounding, and also something that I've never done before. You know, yeah, I've made a lot of life changes this past year, and so right now I just want to, like, this is my like kind of soul cleansing album, and I feel like it's got to be heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So who are some people you're collaborating with?
So the official band is my friend Mark, who is going to play drums. So I want a live electronic drum. So he is playing drums. I am playing whatever, and hopefully guitar. My friend Pete Holstrom, who was the guitarist of is the guitarist of the Dandy Warhols. I've collaborated with him a bunch in the past. He's also just one of the easiest. I've been really lucky working with Paul. Has just, he and I have done a lot of stuff together, and working musically with him is so easy. Touring with him was so easy. Pete is the same way. There's no ego. He's really talented, and and just an amazing human being. And there is a vocalist that I can't quite mention yet, because it's not official, but well-known Portland band singer.
Well, you have almost heard it here first. Awesome.
Yeah.
I got to meet Courtney and
Zia?
no. It's the other guitarist. Is that Pete?
Pete.
Yeah. At Bumbershoot last year in
Oh, yeah?
Seattle. That's where I'm at.
Where are you at? Are you up in Seattle?
I'm in Seattle, yeah. And I got to see you the first time in Portland on the first leg of the Skinny Puppy tour.
At the Crystal?
At the Crystal, yeah.
Show was...
I was there with Zach from Dead Animal Assembly Plant, and Aaron Christopher, another friend of mine, and
well, let's exchange info, because I hop up on the train and go up north quite a bit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, if you're ever in town,
Long overdue. I think Mark, drummer guy, is coming here this weekend, but if he didn't, I was going to go up to Seattle.
Oh, right on.
So yeah, take a little breaks to get away from your environment.
Yeah.
I'm in the studio 7 days a week, listening to Doom, and
Need to get out and see some liquid sunshine in Seattle. There you go.
Yeah.
Did you come up with a name for the new project yet?
So there have been 4 iterations of Malekko the band. And Pete has been in 2 of the versions. And I didn't want to do this, but Pete suggested we call it Malekko. And because we're lazy. I don't know if that's what we're going to call it. I pitched Massive Aggressive. That went over about like the Hindenburg. But yeah, I don't quite know. Tentatively, it's going to be another Malekko the Band project. It's funny because Malekko the Band, of course, is Paul and myself, and then there have been, each version have just had other people, and so he's working on a new Ministry record, and he knows I'm doing this, and he knows why I'm doing this, and those 2 things are intertwined, and so I sent him a text. I was like, "Hey, how do you feel about this being called Malekko the Band?" Kind of hoping he'd be like, "Nah." He was like, "Fuck yeah, I love it, and I'm so happy you're doing this." I was like,
okay, I'm just gonna put this out there.
All right.
Bit of white and black Juggalo paint and call it the Great Malekko.
The Great Malekko.
All right, I'm done. That's perfect.
Do some kind of fusion rap thing. Yeah.
Fusion Doom.
Yeah.
Doom.
Doom rap. Yeah. And I think they're already doing that. Yeah. That's my little nod to the Insane Clown Posse. So
yeah. CP.
Gigolo.
When do you anticipate
How do they work?
when do you think someone could hear a track from your new record?
Say it again, please.
When do you think someone could hear a track from your new record that you're working on? Will it be this year?
I think I'm really close to having it to where it's a thing. If the audio wasn't so bad, I would just hit play. But it would just sound even doomier.
Doom, doom.
Ooh.
Noise.
Getting doomified.
As I was mentioned, Mark, drummer, is coming down, I believe, this weekend to, I believe, finish this and start a second song. And then I am going to send it off to the vocalist, but in between vocalists, I may make it public. You know, I'm not one of those people that really like hides or whatever. I'm happy with what I'm doing, and before it makes it to a record, I'm happy to hear a bunch of people say that's shit. You should do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy to find out sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good observation. I can't wait to hear it. I like to hear it.
Is there
Yeah.
5 strings on that bass?
There are.
Yeah.
Play a 5 string?
Yeah.
That's so many strings.
I know.
You ever
That's
play a
what-
bass 6?
What was that?
You ever play a bass 6?
I played a bass 6.
So it's
But
a good.
I don't like 6 strings.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is. Yeah, it's a guitar though. So it's, Fender made this stupid, like, weird experimental instrument, and it's a guitar but an octave lower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's meant to be played like a guitar, and they're really fun. I'm a terrible string instrument player. I love to play string instruments, and I'm not being modest, it's terrible. But
I saw Jamie Duffy. He got a something like that. A guitar, but it's like bass strings,
yeah,
basically. And it was good for some of the chunks. I mean, like heaves.
yeah.
Know.
That's one thing I love about them is they are unapologetic, and you put some dirt on those on them, and they're
Yeah. It sounds like Scorn.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Crunchy.
when I first heard it, I said, wow, it sounds like old boy from Scorn. So yeah, but he played it 1 or 2 times, and then I saw it, and I said I can't do nothing with this. I didn't have time to mess with it anyway. But I like to get one of those, just to play with, pretty much.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, they are. But no, I'll send you info. I like to use one of those pedals. I've been using this Zoom pedal that Joe hooked me up with.
People who made this app?
Huh?
Same
What?
people who made this app?
No. No, the Zoom audio.
No Zoom.
You just okay, good.
Zoom.
Oh, man.
Man. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we should be able to get some kind of from Zoom for using Zoom.
Yeah.
Using Zoom.
Yeah, really. Some of your messages, me and my fiance, we just laugh. We go, Josh is at it again.
I just tried to, social media and things like that, just like, so it's de-evolved into just people just complaining and just all the seriousness.
I know.
I just remember, or maybe just my peer group or whatever, like social media and all this stuff, it was just jokes. It was just cracking jokes and having fun and smiling.
Yeah.
All this stuff. And it's, like I said, I feel like it's just de-evolved. So I try to just bring that.
Yeah, you every time we come across something that you've been part of, we just get hilarious. It just gets so happy. It just knocks knocks
We
everything out to the
laugh.
left. Yeah,
Nice.
it just knocks everything serious to the left with a smile, you
There you
know,
go.
with a smile.
That's a
You
good,
know, that's one
that's a good
thing
thing.
that I always loved about watching you play is whenever you would play, it's like you had you have such a command of stage, and you always have like this Cheshire Cat smile that was so infectious. And I loved it. And I've told you this before, like every time, whatever band I've seen you at, whatever, I don't care who it was, I was
Yeah.
parked in front of you and I just watched you play because like the energy that you like
Uh,
just expelled just
yeah.
filled that entire room and myself up. I loved it.
It's freaking
Thank you,
brilliant,
Nick.
ain't it?
You
Yeah.
know, I got to deliver the goods. You know, it's
Yeah, you
And
did.
you do.
I'm not, you know, not trying to ham it up, but it's like you deliver the goods. People pay to
Yeah.
watch a performance.
Yeah.
That's what they deserve. You know.
Yeah.
So
It
I
feels
think
good watching you play, man. It
Yeah.
feels good. Yeah.
like I think a lot of synth shows really are difficult to watch because it's so clinical. And you know, when Paul and I did the Lead into Gold show, like we both like seeing a two-piece band and one of them is a synth dork, it's not very entertaining. So we're like, well, how do we make this shit show like a real shit show?
Yeah, real shit.
And enter guitar and
Oh
full
man.
uniform.
Yeah.
You know,
So
you have a
when I
ton
was up there, I was
to
watching.
go ahead.
I was watching. It was like it was like Tenacious D.
Yeah.
I was like, it's better, you know. So, but it was just good to see Paul. You know, I love Paul.
I do too.
You know,
Don't ever tell him I
his,
said
as much as you know, he's very philosophical, very know it all.
that.
And you know, he one time I was on stage, I was playing, and he threw something at me.
No.
Yeah, he was kidding. He threw something from the
Like
balcony.
panties?
No, not no panties. No, he wasn't discharging someone who threw something at him. No, he
Oh
threw
my God.
something, but he liked Chem Lab, and he liked the show, you know. And I was, you know, I know Paul from a long time, you know. He didn't even know I was a bass player, you know.
Mm.
He didn't know I was a bass player. All the time, it was Al coming in the studio, work on stuff. Then Al would leave, and Paul would come in.
Mhm.
And that's how it works. You know,
Yeah.
Al would go leave around 12 noon, not to being in there all night.
Yeah.
And Paul would come in and, do his thing. So I got to see, I got to experience those moments, and
Yeah.
it really formed, made me what I become,
I've learned so much from Paul as far as this end
Mhm.
of stuff. Paul and I have done, as I mentioned, a bunch of recording together. And before knowing Paul, I didn't really record much. And I was so self-conscious. Anything I actually did,
Mhm.
it immediately was just delete,
Mhm.
delete. And
Mhm.
he yelled at me once, and I got a black eye from it. But uh, it was like, you keep everything, just keep it. And I learned to do that because Paul has a lot of gifts, and one of which is so every song. So Malekko, the last iteration, we did a little EP, and every song started with me just on the modular synth, just puking out a bunch of stuff. And Paul would take that puke and start forming a song out of it,
Uh-huh.
which I never really had that mindset. And so
Yeah.
now I do. So the song that I'm currently working on started with I got it really inspired by that Negative Land documentary. And I'm a real big fan of those guys and just
Yeah.
their use of tape loops. And so I had an old reel-to-reel that somebody gave me like 10 years ago. And so I pulled it out. And the cool thing about this one is it does normal speed, double speed, but it also does half speed and quarter speed.
Wow.
So I have I got a bunch of tapes of what essentially is, just people talking, like a TED Talk kind of thing. And then I recorded both half speed, quarter speed, and then I have a randomized tremolo, and then I put reverb to make glue.
Yeah.
And so what it is, it creates this texture of sound that then found spots that were rhythmic and kind of made it into musical fashion, and notes, and then started doing it. But I never would have done that had I
That's
not
brilliant.
worked with Paul,
Oh yeah.
watched him
Yeah.
turn the puke that I've made into structured songs.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you joined Paul on stage, as we were saying, with Let Into Gold for the Skinny Puppy final tour. Two of the absolute loudest performances I have been fortunate enough to witness anywhere. And you both looked like you were having a fucking blast. It was awesome. Forgive me for not knowing this, but was this your first time working together?
Oh no, Paul and I have worked together for 18 years. And there, in fact, was another Lead into Gold show, we'll say 7 years ago, at a Cold Waves in Chicago. And it was, I think it was the first time Lead into Gold ever played live. And that was Paul, Lori, who played guitar, and myself. And it was, much different and also Paul, Pete, and myself and Chris Conley did a Malekko the band. That was the last EP that I was talking about. So that was, Chris Conley, Pete, myself, and Paul.
Right. Awesome.
And we only played one show, which was Cold Waves.
Yeah,
okay.
I saw Paul opening for Ogre on the Tricks tour, and it was just Paul, and fascinating. I mean, it's always fascinating to watch him play. I mean,
well,
right.
I was supposed to do that tour, but I got kicked off.
Oh no.
Yeah. So Paul, if you're ever watching this,
Kick that.
Yeah, Paul, I still need the digi download for The Sun Behind the Sun, because I bought one of the, I got that album at the show, and it was like, that's supposed to have the download codes in it, but it doesn't. So hit me up, and if I don't answer, put some pepper on it. And I'm like, I'm never gonna see that. I'm like, he's too fucking busy, man.
well, after this, send me a message and I'll light a fire.
That's all right, man.
Put some pepper on.
Paul's given us enough, man. He is, Jesus Christ, one of the coolest people in the world. And oh my God, he gave me so much shit at that show. I'm wearing a tour shirt by this band I had just seen like 3 nights before. I've never heard of them before. I'd never seen them before, but they're called Retox. And it was just this little garage, or not garage, a little, DIY sort of setup in Seattle. There's a little venue where you come in, you bring your own beer and whatever. It's just some really cool punk bands were playing. A band called Sperm were playing. They were absolutely fucking fantastic. Redux were playing. Diatribe was playing, and I just love the shirt because it says Retox on it, and then it's got a mug shot of some girl. And Paul's like, "Oh, Retox, man, they're a Seattle band, right?" And I'm like, I think so. He's like, "Yes, they're a Seattle band. I know who they are." And I'm like, "Why are you fucking quizzing me, man?"
That absolutely sounds like Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's fucking awesome. I love that guy.
I've tried to make that guy mad so much, but I've only successfully done it twice. So he's not particularly fond of their version of Lay Lady Lay, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So when we're so Paul, so initially Malekko was just me, and then we, grew. Paul was living in LA at the time, and then Dwayne Dassing started working for us, and then Paul was like, "Hey, this is a thing. Let's all move back." So we're all in the same room, and so every single time I finished Ass Master, I would go test it, and I would play the bass riff for Lady Lady Late, but I would do it wrong, and I would he would do it. I would just watch him boil. About like day 5 of doing this, he finally snaps. He's like, "If you're gonna fucking do it, at least do it right." Grabs a bass. He's like, I'm like,
Oh
oh.
my God. So that
That and
suit.
the other time was whenever I said the Blackouts were an Oingo Boingo tribute band.
No, you
Oh
didn't.
my God, that's awesome. I've got the Blackouts vinyl in my room
Wow.
back here.
Wow.
7-inch and 12-inch, and oh
Yeah.
my God, yeah,
I
that's
You
love
were
it.
just busting on them, man.
yeah.
I mean,
Just
that's
straight
our
up busting them
relationship.
out.
And
Yeah.
that comes through with our product line, that comes through anytime we do like trade shows or on stage. Like, people
Yeah.
describe us as like basically an old married couple. And,
Yeah.
That was so much fun on that show. You guys were fucking
Yeah.
fantastic. Your Seattle show was incredible too.
oh, you got to see the Seattle one? I
oh
like.
yeah,
So
oh yeah.
I struggle with the crystal, and if I would say that was probably my least favorite. Another thing too is we had huge technical issues before the show, and I was sweating, and Paul was freaking out, and I had to redo. We had no sound check because I had to redo all the files on the MPC, and Paul's like yelling at me, and I'm just like, "Paul, go fucking stand over there." And like, we never get to that level. Paul,
Yeah.
we,
This is at the Crystal, yeah.
this was at Crystal.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. No, I did notice there was a little. It did seem
we
a little tense. Yeah.
it was definitely tense, but it was so terrifying, and we didn't have a sound check when we hit go essentially on the MBCX for backing tracks. We didn't know if it was going to work.
Ooh.
It was that stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
in some amazing company with that. I think who was it that just had something like that happen? I can't remember who it was, but I know on the Dig It Bigot tour in Seattle at the Hub Ballroom, Tom and Severed Heads are playing. Tom Ellard and Seven Heads are, he's up there just by himself doing his thing, and for some reason they had the main power going from the front of the stage through the crowd to the back wall. So right in the middle.
Anxiety.
Yes, no, it's just fucking insane. And it got unplugged at some point, and Tom's up there. I've always wanted to be an acoustic act. It's more fun than being raped by a refrigerator or something to that effect. It was fucking hysterical.
Let me tell you, last time I was in Portland.
But yeah, one of my the people that taught me about music and stage stuff, he said, don't ever use the electronics. This is back in like the late 80s, early 90s. He's like, don't just have a fucking tape,
Right.
just hit play.
So it's funny.
We've gone past that. Yeah.
Being a electronic musician, I really hated that era of watching synthesized shows. And so I was talking to you guys, I think before the show, my friend Dwayne Dassing from Intel and the Fixer and I did a bunch of projects together. And the only rule was it was all live. Yeah. And there was nothing pre-recorded. There was some sequenced drums, because neither of us could finger drum, but that was the shtick. And our first show ever, my first time ever playing, the first note I hit, everything went down. Now I understand why there's backing tracks.
Yeah. Well, you guys killed it at the Crystal, and obviously in Seattle, but yeah, that was deafening. It was so large. The sound was just huge. at
Yeah.
just
And
really
that is a weird, how did Seattle sound?
it just Seattle just that's a great fucking venue. I mean
What a
the
beautiful
Paramount
thing.
is just a great venue to begin with, and it sounded amazing. But I was down on the floor, not far off the stage anyway.
So
Um,
so that was the last show of the first leg of the
mhm.
tour. And it's funny because so I, TV lied to us, as we were kids. Like touring is not, parties, groupies and, drugs. It's
Yeah.
backbreaking labor,
Mhm.
and it's unapologetic.
Yeah.
So I never really got to watch Puppy start to finish. I pieced together through the first leg of the tour, but
Right.
that last one I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this. And I started laughing. And I think probably 0.01% of the people that witnessed that show heard what I heard, but I know that band so intimately. Ogre had, four of his teeth missing. And so once you hear that he was singing sort of Elmer Fuddish, you couldn't
You
unhear
can't
it.
unhear it. No.
I was
Is
sitting
that what was
back
going on?
I was
Oh
sitting
my
by the
God.
back or standing by the back wall, I guess maybe by the mixer or projector or whatever. And once you hear it, I still really enjoy the show. It's great, but
Yeah.
it was funny.
It was a little off in there. Yeah,
Elmer
that's
Fudd.
fucking amazing. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the Gold LeMay. We're
So it's funny, Paul, so I hate shopping. And once a year I change my outfit. I hate shopping that much. This year it's nondescript, black shirt and red short pants.
nice.
Yeah.
Last year was almost the same, but it was pink. So, Paul and everybody that knows me knows like I don't change clothes. I do change clothes, but they're an exact replica.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not one for like, dressing up or going out or whatever. And so we did a warm-up show at the goth club here, Coffin Club. And I walk out with also another thing about me is I haven't worn long pants since maybe
Snow.
the early 90s. No, not even in snow. Uh, so none of my peers have seen me in long pants. So I walk out of right before we go on, and I have a black eye and or a makeup black eye, and then gold. And Paul just looks at me and he just smiles so big. It's like, fuck yeah. This is because now he knows like, you know, I'm going to like I'm going to give it everything and make this a fun spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to do every show.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was fucking awesome.
My whole thing about especially the second leg of the tour was try to get Paul to break character and say fuck. Yeah. So I would like just needle him and just try to get him to lose his shit.
Yeah. He's so
Were you successful?
Oh yes, almost every
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
almost every show. That's good. That's good.
Right on.
He always has his composure.
Yeah.
Oh
Was
my
it the
God.
black eyes that started that?
Say again?
The black eyes, did that really help doing that?
So it's real, I told Paul, or I didn't tell Paul I was going to do this. And so one of my closest friends, Rico, who used to work at Dark Place, was at that show, and he sees me, walks out, and he's just like, oh shit. And I think I told him it was fake because I didn't really tell anybody it was fake. All I would say is if I don't hit my mark, he hits me. And then I whisper, he hits me every day.
Yeah.
But the best part is, so I changed the black eye almost every day. And like nobody really got the fact that like clearly this is not real.
Oh
And
my God.
towards the end, I would do both black eyes, but one would be faded and one would be just like massive.
That's fucking awesome.
Those
Oh, man.
pictures you sent back, they're just like those. It was just outrageous.
And I didn't really know how Paul would take that because, You know, domestic violence isn't really, you know, a laughing
Yeah.
matter, but you know, he knew. It's funny how many people thought that was real and be like, oh my God, Paul, like, like, Paul's like the nicest guy I've ever, like, that was the joke, is Paul is the kindest, most sweet human being, like,
No.
last person ever to like just
He's going hands on. Everybody does.
It's the ministry in me.
Oh my God, man. Hey, can you take us through your stage setup for the tour?
so
What were you using?
in the rack, there was, you know, some effects, like we had a couple H3000s, and a mixer, because we submixed our set, and so we knew when, you know, we got this offer to do this tour, we had to streamline everything, and our footprint needed to be small, and we needed to get on and off the stage really quick. So we lugged around this what seemed to be 2,000-pound rolling case with ancient effects in it, a mixer to where we could just pull. You know, our setup was really fast. And then I use an MPCX that I love, that has samples that I pull from. And so like the guitar that I used, I just played, well, the first leg of the tour, because the set changed. The first leg of the tour, all that is a controller. And so I got a Bluetooth MIDI device that hooked to the MBCX, and I just pulled samples off of it.
Okay.
And then a Pro 2, which I just love. Almost every time I play live, I use that. You know, it's a compact synth, and it's such a just beefy sounding synthesizer that's, you know, I can program any kind of sound that I would ever want to use in an instant. It gets weird and aggressive, or it does smooth bass, you know, traditional synth. So and, you know, so it's key for me, it was Keytar, MPCX, and Pro 2. And Paul used he used my bass 6, which is the pink instrument.
The thing's beautiful.
Yeah, the thing's awesome. And then Paul and I were going to start a bass company, and we had 2 prototype basses made, and the blue bass that he plays is one of them.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gonna make those things available at some point.
Well, what sucks is, so there are 2 that were made, and they're different body shaped. And I liked the blue one. So of course, as soon as we saw him, I went dibs on the blue one. And he, you know, he's like, oh, but you know, that was my bass. Well, unfortunately, Paul used that bass. You know, he toured with Pucifer. You know, he's done, I don't know how many shows with that bass.
Yeah.
So Paul just moved to Los Angeles a few months ago, and basically we got divorced, and we had to, you know, separate all of our, you know, belongings. And I begrudgingly, I was like, I can't in good conscience take that bass, because that is Paul's bass. And he was like, okay. I'm like, fuck.
Crucifix.
What is the significance of the dagger tattoo in your thumb, and who else has one?
Wow. So that morphed into something far bigger than myself. And so I used to work down on 6th Street, and you know, the people I'm sure know 6th Street. 6th Street is just a party, it's just a chaos. And I was working at a tattoo shop called True Blue on Red River, right next to where Emo's used to be, and then Elysium. And we might have tasted an adult beverage, but this guy, Chad, and another guy, Bob Love, and I decided we would go into a tattoo shop that we didn't work at, and B, the annoying customer that we have to deal with all the time. We demanded these daggers on our thumb, and then we all have them. And then my friend Mark Frappier decided that he wanted the same tattoo. So he got one shortly after, maybe a week afterwards. And then they kind of morphed into Joe Lifto got one. And then from then on, I stopped paying attention, because at this point it was like their friend group. Like it wasn't even like part of me or anything, but yeah.
Thumbs up.
Don't you
Oh
have
my
a Skinny Pepper flyer tattoo as well?
I do, yes. I got a BFF tattoo with my friend. It is amazing, but it was,
Nice.
I believe, the first Skinny Puppy show. Kevin, with a ballpoint pen, drew these two fantastic skulls. And my friend Daniel has one. He has one. I have the other. But it's funny because, it's a terrible tattoo. It's ballpoint pen, so you see each and every line. And so we
Yeah.
go to this tattoo shop, and I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna love this." And the guy just laughed, and he had so much fun doing it. I think he even took a picture to put his portfolio.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, most of my tattoos are dumb.
Did you first meet Mr. Lipto as a tattoo artist slash piercer?
Yeah, so working on 6th Street, but this is before he worked at Casino El Camino. I think he was just a barfly there. And I worked across the street at a shop that isn't there anymore. And so he's just such a delightful human being. We would just get rowdy, and it just became friends. My favorite, so the very first tattoo convention Halloween tattoo convention in New Orleans, he and I went to, and I quickly realized I would be dead if I lived in New Orleans. It was rowdy.
Yeah. I've heard some stories about that.
No.
I think that was maybe 98.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
90s years in New Orleans. I've got some friends that
Impulse buy Jaeger. You go to buy a pack of cigarettes at a convenience store, like, oh, there's Jaeger here. Because who doesn't want warm Jägermeister at the impulse buy section at the okay.
just go ahead and grab you some Thunderbird, man.
Smartest thing I've done.
Jeez.
Dr.
Oh my
Meat,
God.
attorney at law around?
Dr. Meatball, attorney at law. Yeah, my handsome kitten. I'm in the studio, so he's not here.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
We're the kitty lovers here.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
Dr. Meatball, attorney at law.
He's got me through a lot.
How'd the name come about?
He just told me what it was.
Wow, excellent.
He first was a doctor, and he was trying to find a cure for male pattern baldness. And didn't really get much money from that, so he decided he would go to law school and become a criminal lawyer, loose term criminal lawyer, much like Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Like, that's my cat.
Oh man, that's fucking awesome.
Come on. Just call Saul. Huh.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah. So
He's
we
like,
mentioned
talk about cats. Oh, yeah, get it.
No,
Yep.
there he is.
Yep.
Oh yeah, handsome.
Oh,
She's in Greece. She's in Paris, Greece.
oh, she's so pretty.
Go ahead, Joe.
So you mentioned your appreciation of negative land. And what it's the tape loops and stuff. But what else do you find fascinating about negative land?
Oh man, I really appreciate any uh group, we'll call it, that really create something that's so unique. Uh I mean, as a like a synth dork or experimental musician, like they just really kind of grabbed me. And like they just came out with a documentary, everybody should watch it. It's called Stand By for Failure.
Yeah,
And really, like, uh it's a really it's really great. One of the main guys is I mean, the longest living member is like, we are not a band, we've never been, like, he's kind of
right.
mad about like band. And but I disagree. It's just it's like a sound collage, and I've always really loved that. Not a giant surprise, but I used to love hallucinogens. And hallucinogens and experimental sound sculpting go hand in hand.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first time I was ever whatever subjected to Negative Land was after eating a bunch of acid with some friends. I think I was 19 or 20, and just that was so life-changing. I mean, even without the hallucinogens, it would have been, it would have had as much impact on my life.
Mhm.
Yeah. I freaking love them. My ex-wife was a huge fan. I recall getting her back in 1990 the box set for a big 10/8 place when they finally released that on CD with the box set,
Uh-huh.
with the dirt and
Yeah, yeah.
cool shit in it. It was about the time I also picked up Pig Pile on the box set for that. Wait, do you have that?
No, but I have the most punk
Oh,
thing that any band has ever done.
that is fucking phenomenal. Let's
One,
hear it.
one of
Let's hear
the
it.
one of the members passed.
Mhm.
And so what they did was they took his remains and released this is a radio cart. They just gave everybody that bought the record a random cart and 2 ounces of his remains.
Wow.
And it's
Oh,
funny, in the documentary they say, we think that he would have liked this.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's freaking brilliant, man. That is so freaking brilliant.
So Negative Land, so that what made me think of this was, so in their records they used to stick weird stuff in there. And so the big Canadian place had a baggie of mulch
Yeah,
and a little note inside saying who it was inspected by, and then it was one of
yes,
them.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
I always
I
loved
we
uh
we had a great time opening those box sets. It's the last Big Black show with Pig Pile, that one, because that was one I got for me, and we got the other one for her. But yeah, I always loved that DIY approach on stuff, man. It's freaking and you've been able to see them live, yeah?
I've seen them a few times.
Yeah.
The best, actually, one of my top shows of my life was in, I don't know what year it was, maybe it was I think early 2000s. They played at Stubbs, and it was the first time I had seen them. And kind of a funny story. So I was working downtown. There's this guy, Matt Looney, who was the door guy at
Looney. I know Looney.
yeah.
Yeah.
You lived in Austin, Looney. And
Yeah.
so there's a dude. So the band, they had just got on stage, and so I was late, and there was a dude in front of me, and he's arguing with Looney. And Looney's finally, the guy's like, dude, I'm in the band. And he goes, well, if you're in the band, why aren't you on stage? He goes, because I'm arguing with you. And then Looney's sick of the guy because he doesn't look like a rock star. He's like this old dude.
Yeah.
So Looney goes to me, and he's like, tells me to come on in. And I turned to the guy and I said, how many time zones are in the Soviet Union? And he goes, that's not funny. And I said, Matt, let him in. Or no, Looney, let him in. And the dude runs and just he runs on stage and barely makes his cue.
Oh my God.
And it was Pastor Dick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my
But that
God,
was
that's
one of the
awesome.
best shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
there was
cool.
like
I never got to see Negative Land play, and that's a huge bummer for me.
but now, they put on a really great show. They just played here 2 days ago. Now it's like, it's a little more clinical because it's,
Mhm.
it's like iPads or things like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But that show at Stubbs, there were like 3 people playing film projectors and and just making this amazing soundscape through tangible and I quote instruments. And
Yeah.
I could really, I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I liked how they pushed stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
because they pushed the envelope on a lot of things. I mean, the samples with Casey Kasem, that's fucking brilliant. And the
Yeah.
Pepsi thing, U2. Oh my God.
So I was a DJ and I was a radio DJ in Austin and a club DJ a little bit and the only time I ever got kind of reprimanded by John, the owner of the goth club, was I played Clowns and Ballerinas. And which is this Negative Land song where this little girl's singing and it's just awkward.
It
And
is. Oh my God.
don't ever do that again.
You like the Happy Flowers?
Say it again?
The Happy Flowers?
I don't know it.
You don't know Happy Flowers? I want to watch cartoons.
I don't know it.
I will send you a link. I will
You
send you a
do.
link.
Yeah.
They were fucking brilliant. I mean, it's talk about some awkward sounding stuff. I was
All I
experiencing.
know is awkward.
Yeah, I was experiencing some hallucinogens, and I used to have my speakers set up. So I've got, the right on the right, left on the left, and then I'd have my headphones and I would flip them. So I had the left on the right and the right and you know, and then I would be right between my speakers and I would turn on the music and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
had this thing where I could see the waves of the music coming through, and I'm listening to KEXP, and I learned you never listen to the radio when you're on acid because you can't really control where it's going to go.
Yeah,
And
right.
and this song, I Want to Watch Cartoons, came on, and it was the most terrifying experience I've ever had. This like
Yeah.
screaming, "But I want to watch cartoons, Mom!" And I couldn't even hit the power thing on the stereo because I was just, oh. I'll send you a link.
All right.
It's brilliant stuff. I think from the album Oof.
I'll drop some
So,
action. Listen to it.
Excellent.
Josh, did you ever hear about when Looney threw the tear gas canister at Gigi Allen when he played him off stage? Got the show shut down.
No, but if you would have said that about any other person, I would have been like, nah, that's probably made up.
Yeah.
There's a picture someone made him for his birthday. It said, I shut down Gigi Allen in Austin 1992. You're welcome. And it says,
Oh man. Oh my
Wow.
God. That was when I met him back in '92. Just right before he died. Yeah.
I met Gigi Allen at a party.
Yeah.
I smelled him I smelled him 4 houses away. I said, "What the hell is that smell?"
Oh, it's just Allen.
Yeah. And I go in and there's this beautiful girl sitting on the lap, and she looked like she had a shit-eating grin on her face.
No pun intended.
Probably did.
Yeah, right. And I said, what's wrong with you, girl? God, you can't be him. Okay? You can't be him. But I got I got to know him from that. And he wrote me a letter
Oh, wow.
in
Oh, that's
blood.
awesome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
that
he
sounds
wanted
right.
me-
Yeah.
And he wanted me to play in his shit band, And I didn't get the letter until it's late. My friend goes, "Hey man, Gigi wrote this letter for you." And I would look at it, what is it written in? What kind of mark is this? He said it was just blood.
It's some sort of body excrement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
If you still have that, it's probably valuable now.
No, it's not. Shit, no. I know what you're saying though, but nah, I wouldn't frame that shit,
Oh my God. Yeah, no, when I met him, I was being an assistant for my friend Dan, who was doing an interview with him at Under the Rail before his show back in '92 in Seattle. And I was not expecting what I met. I mean, I had known all the stories about him and everything. What I met was a down to earth, accommodating, gracious person. And it really, I was like, damn. But he was genuinely nice. I don't know if I just had met him on a really, really good day or
Uh,
fucking what, but
yeah.
Right.
yeah,
That's funny.
I know a lot of people didn't really have experiences with
Yeah,
him like that.
yeah. As a matter
Um,
of fact, I played at the Elysium,
yeah.
Big Face last, the guy who ran the club, that Gigi, it was a club Exit, and Gigi was going to do a show there. We had just had the Plasmatics,
Oh, wow.
and we built the stage, and Gigi Allen was going to play there. Well, he played there, and oh my God, the guy, Joe told me, he wasn't there. His name was Joe, and he was a manager, and he was at the Elysium at the show at Big Place Center. And I go, wow, and we were reminiscing of the 30 years that we've known each other. And I said, remember the Gigi Allen show, man? He says, yeah. And I said, I didn't stick around, but what happened to that girl who got hit in the face with some shit?
Cool.
She said, oh, that's when the whole place went nuts. Everybody just beat the shit out of everybody.
Oh
They
my
beat the shit out
God.
of Gigi,
That
and they
sounds fun.
threw all this stuff out.
Yeah.
People didn't even know about the back door. They
Yeah.
found that back door then because they couldn't make it to the front door. And
Oh my God.
but Joe was at the Elysium show. And
Oh
that's
my
funny.
God. Oh,
You guys
that's
talking
awesome.
about it. But
Good old Gigi.
Yeah.
poor Gigi,
Rest in peace, buddy. Jeez.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
Rich, do you have anything else you'd like to talk with us about today?
I got nothing. I've got yeah. I'm just so locked into like this doing this record. I haven't really done much or really thought about anything except for you guys.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, I've got a little request then. Yesterday was a very special birthday for a very special friend.
yeah.
Everybody want to sing a quick happy birthday?
Do
Well,
this.
wait, we're gonna have to sing it not with the birthday song. I don't want to have somebody try to monetize the shit out of this, but
Yeah.
Does somebody own the birthday song?
yes, somebody does own the birthday song.
No.
Yes.
You do?
Are you kidding me?
Fucking bastards is who they are. Yeah. But yeah, there's a
Did you ever
Martin
hear?
Atkins.
Oh, right.
Yep, Martin Atkins, Mr. the King Poobah himself. His
Martin.
birthday yesterday.
All right.
Charles,
So,
you got a message for Martin?
Mr. Atkins,
Go ahead, Josh.
going back in time,
Going back in time.
2 days. Well, actually, no. Here's what you should do, Martin, is go back in time to January 1st, 2024, and look at myself, Josh Holley's Facebook page, and you'll see I made a post especially for you and anybody else that had a birthday from January 1st to December 31st, 2024, to where I wish everyone, especially you, a happy birthday.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Martin.
Martin, yeah.
Martin,
Mm.
another spin around that big orange orb. And look
There
at
you
you go, man. Look at you go. So
Yeah.
happy birthday, Martin. You fucking rock, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, if that's all you have and that's all we have, I suppose it's time for us to go ahead and kick this thing out. Kiddies, it's about that time. We dedicate this show, as we do all of them, to our dear friend Jason Lupo, with respect to his wife and son. People, we are ephemeral beings, wisps of electricity and a meaty sock on a big rock flying through infinite space. We are stardust. I just laid a dear friend to rest yesterday, and it's kind of in my head right now. So I just want to make sure everybody knows we're all connected. It's a hard time to be alive. Please don't be too hard on yourself for feeling it, for needing the extra time to rest, for being tired as hell. It means you're normal and paying attention. Keep working on the creative things. Keep looking at the world and its wonders with the eyes of a child. There's beauty all around us, even when things seem the ugliest. We love you. We love that you're part of this world. Love, hugs, belly rubs. Cheers.
Cheers.